Wee, how fun. This is salsa chat. We're making salsa. Let's hang out and make salsa. I should put this up on this thing. It might be better. Oh, it's a little too high. Oh well. Oh well, oh well. I think I should have something on in the background. Can't do music. While I do TikToks. Whew, it's hot. It's 100. What is it? You know, I don't know, but it's definitely over 100. Just happened all of a sudden. Just a couple days ago. Oh my God, these things get clogged. A couple days ago, it was like 60 at night. You know, like chilly. And it seemed to be what I think are cloaked ships in the sky over where I live. I usually take a picture, but I was driving, so they look like a stack of pancakes. I think those are cloaked ships. You know, whatever. It's like whether they are or whether they're not. We all know they're aliens and UFOs. No one's gonna really fight about that anymore. I'm seeing some interesting stuff. I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. Maybe like a cereal box. Put it up on a cereal. Got some granola. Maybe that'll be just a little better. Probably. Should use my GoPro cam. All right, so we're gonna roast these tomatoes. But what I was gonna say is, it seems like I like this. This would be cool. Like, if you put this on the YouTube on your TV, and it's just like in the background, and you're just kind of listening, but there's like kind of this thing going on. Because I love videos like that. I don't know about you men, but women love just watching other women cook and clean. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It's so funny. It's like how little kids like watching other kids open up toys, unboxing. Women watching other women cook and clean on YouTube is like the children's version of unboxing. Like the woman's version of how children look at unboxing. You know what I'm talking about? There's like this new phenomenon where kids are just obsessed with watching other kids open toys. What I was going to say is, there's like all this shifting energy big time. And all of a sudden, like more than actually, I feel like nobody's done this really. All of a sudden, I see videos and headlines of people like just straight up denying Christ. Like, I don't know if you, there's this channel Archaics, and we'll listen to it actually while this is in the oven. And, he does really good videos about all kinds of stuff, like esoteric things, the Nephilim, the Fallen, and they're so well versed in the Bible. So it's him and this gentleman. Just, I can't listen for too long. But you know what's funny? Like, I find it so amusing to listen to men talk about denying the whole story and history of Jesus. And it's funny because I was like, if I listened to enough of this, would I ever subconsciously agree? No, I couldn't, but I have good reason for that. That's personal, but and I think that's the whole point, personal relationship with God through Jesus. So you're not getting the bastard asshole, which is what most men are. Men are fallen in this world. We're not mad about it. It's just the truth, right? We got to stop denying it. They're fallen. They're effed up. They can't seem to do the right thing because it's like connected to like the way we make money is so atrocious. But it seems like that's coming to an end, right? The way we make money. So I find it so amusing listening to men deny and like super, super well versed in the Bible and biblical history. And so actually, maybe I have it up here. We can listen. Oh, and I can even share my screen on StreamYard. God, I have all these tabs open. Things I want to do, things I want to listen to. Oh, it's hot as hell. And, you know, the oven is roasting. I'm going to put on this eye patch. Or this, it is like an eye patch, but it's not for that. Oh my goodness. Take the edge off. Okay. Where's my history? Well, we'll just look up archaics. It's just so amusing. And I feel like at the end of the day, the difference is going to be people with good personalities and people with bad personalities. That's just me, though. Like, people spend a lot of time talking about all this stuff. But at the end of the day, I mean, because there's so many people who absolutely invert. And I'm not mad about it. Listen, I'm not mad about it. Like, Jesus can defend himself. And so God's judgment, right? And then if they don't heal over and die, then you know what? Time is ending. Like, we'll wipe the story anyway and start over. Who wants to remember the horrors of the crucifixion after all the people in the covenant opened and closed and all those people are now dead and gone? Who needs to remember such horrible things? I don't need to remember a large majority of my life here, like this lifetime. Anyways, we're sharing. Here, I'll just share it with you while I'm looking. Share screen. No. 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 Oh my God. AI is getting really overreaching. My old booking software, we see that, or they noticed that I have a new booking software, and they were like, put me in timeout. I don't even use them anymore. I wanted to cancel, but I was like, well, all I can do, I could just take my availability off. And they were like, we see that you're booking people on another platform. They put me in timeout, this AI. So stupid. And then, here it is. The other night, YouTube was trying to do facial recognition to go live. And signing into Hulu and Netflix, they wanted a backup card. They were like, put a backup credit card on file. And it was like you couldn't get past the screen to watch Hulu or Netflix if you didn't put in the backup credit card. But I think there's always a hack. If you clicked on the Netflix or Hulu homepage symbol, then it would bypass it. You know? And I think that's just the way the tribulation's going to go. It's going to seem as if you got to do all this stuff that AI is telling you to do. But if you're gifted with the wisdom of the Holy Spirit is going to tell you, just click the home button. You might not realize it's a button where the logo is, like StreamYard logo. Anyways, luncheons with Lorraine Swanson? Saint Lorraine? Okay, so now I'm confused because we gotta figure this dude. I mean, you don't have to figure him out, but look at it. So 4 months ago, he does a video, the real teaching of Jesus. And then, but today I was listening to him talk about with this other guy, and there's like a deadness to the other guy. There's like a deadness to the other guy that was on it. And they're talking about like how this can't be true. This can't like this couldn't have happened. Like the whole crucifixion, death, and resurrection of Jesus. Where is it now? Oh, fudge, it's hot. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Sorry. So I just find it so amusing. Sorry, they got new features, so I'm trying to figure out. StreamYard had a little upgrade. All right, so let's listen to these dudes talk about the impossibility of Christianity, and it's just amusing. But this intro is way too really cool though. How hot do y'all like your salsa?
About 12 centuries Jewish tapestry? I mean, like Abrahamic conception.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a little bit of everything. First, we had coming out of the Dark Ages. We have an infrastructure that was already set up and had been there for a while. The trade routes. You've heard the term the wandering Jew. I know you've heard that many times. That term has a lot of history to it. It's in the trade route, the Crusades. And to even continue the Crusades, they had developed psyops like the Prester John story, which is a total psyop, absolute BS. Are you familiar with that Prester John episode?
No.
Okay. The first and second crusade were very successful. Most people don't know it was the Jews that wired this up, and they were playing both sides from the middle. There were Jews in the ears of the Muslims and in the Turks, and there was Jews in the ears of the Christian Crusaders and in the Christians themselves. And the spearhead for the Crusades were the Normans.
Oh yeah, David,
the Norman Knights were the most feared among the knights outside of farther north. We had the German
people don't realize
they didn't really participate a whole lot until later. The Norman Knights spearheaded the initial Crusades, and the Norman Knights were direct descendants of Vikings. Spoils. And of course, there's Jewish administrators there taking their cut as well. And these back alley deals are how different countries would accept, 7,000 or 8,000 Jews into their country. Okay, they make a deal. Okay, cool. Y'all can have this area now and build your little community, and they would do it. And then, as you know, 1,100 and something times in just a 900-year period, European nations have kicked Jews out of their country. Because they realize after being there for 150 years, what happens? It's parasitic. Their economies collapse. All this wealth is siphoned out. The old legends and traditions about coin clippers and stuff. That shit was real. It was very real. When you only have a small minority of people and they're all the same ethnicity, that all the coin of the realm is collected by in order for the king to get his money. By the time the king got his money, you would have squared off coins. You'd have coins that no longer would have ribbing. You'd have coins that were completely sheared off and damaged.
So,
and,
this dude
and
goes,
they would always
like,
blame
you know
the
what?
people
He's
for this.
talking
But it
real
was
about
actually
the JE.
shaving the silver, shaving the copper, shaving the gold off of coins. And when you do that to all the coins in the realm for years and years and years, you build a lot of wealth on top of the earth story, on top of all the other financial scams.
Going to hell or not.
So these crusades were dying out, and more Europeans were like, "Nah, man, I'm not going to die on a Muslim battlefield for these people, man.
There are people who won't believe what they can't see."
So all of a sudden, a new psyop was born, and the psyop was there's a big white dude way over here on the other side of the world named Prester John, the priest John, and he's got a massive army somewhere in the India Far East area where Alexander the Great ended up one time, and he's got this massive Christian army. And the psyop was talking about, well, this is from the 18 years that Jesus was in India. So this is the part of the psyop, it's part of the pseudo history. And the rumors throughout Europe spread like wildfire. Oh man, if we invade Jerusalem again, this time we might get help from Prester John and his massive army, and we'll have the Muslims surrounded. And the Christians fell for it again. And they did a third, fourth, and fifth crusade, and they go to liberate Jerusalem, and it's no good. And again, the same old thing. Land and wealth changes hands. Women are falsely accused. The burning times begins after that, and witchcraft got totally out of hand. Initially, women were being killed and falsely accused so they could take their estates when their husbands died in foreign lands. Now it became even worse. Now under the Dominicans and on the friars, now women were being selected, because there were so many of them that it inherited so many estates from those who had died in earlier crusades. So, yeah, I talk a lot about this on Archaics TV. This is the subject matter of videos on Archaics TV. I do talk on YouTube about a lot of Jewish psyops and a lot of not just Jewish psyops, but psyops period, like the oracles of ancient Greece and how they perform that. But yeah, this is all of this stuff. You're going to be so surprised when you chronologically look at all this data and how it all lines up. How the printing press was invented by Hoster of Karlum, but Gutenberg got the credit for it and did a deal with a bunch of Jews. And for the first 80 years of the printing press, nothing but Bibles and Talmuds were of knowledge that is in the field today. Is some sort of a psyop. And only in the last 2.5, 3 years have I been tying those psyops together. And each individual thread is beginning to look like a beautiful 12th century long Jewish tapestry. And it's the only way I can describe it.
Okay. You piqued my interest. What do you mean about 12 centuries Jewish tapestry? I mean, like Abrahamic conception?
Yeah, well, it's going to be a little bit of everything. First, we had coming out of the Dark Ages. We have an infrastructure that was already set up and had been there for a while. The trade routes. You've heard the term the wandering Jew. I know you've heard that many times. That term has a lot of history to it. It's in the trade routes coming out of the Dark Ages, going into the Middle Ages, the only people in possession of books were basically Jews. The only people on the roads and on the trade routes that were moving were Jews. The Jews already had a massive infrastructure going from Iran, Persia, where the Exilarchy is, the hidden rulers of the Judaic faith. These people already had a trade and information network out of this world. They had already infiltrated about half of Europe. There were Jewish administrators among the Turks and among the Ottomans that had come out of Tartary. There were Jewish administrators all throughout the Mediterranean states. All the shipping guilds were almost owned by Jews. Most of the slave trading shipping guilds, they were all Jewish owned. So we had this huge infrastructure of people that could speak every language in the known world, because there were Jews in Genoa, there were Jews in Corsica, there were Jews in Malta, there was a huge Jewish population in northern Africa, in around the Alexandria area, and always has been for about 23, 24 centuries. But about 12 centuries ago, a massive, almost a psyop was born, where a plan had hatched, where these people realized that not only could they infiltrate these European countries and be able to build communities in there that are not assimilationists like Europeans. Europeans are assimilationists. They take in foreign peoples. As long as those foreign peoples come in and obey their laws and learn their language, they basically become those people. But the Jews have never been assimilationists. They build microeconomies, micro societies within societies, and begin to parasite off of them. So this has been going on for a long time, but there was a need at the time to have a conflict between the Middle East and these new European emerging nation states, these new monarchies. Some of them were almost to the point of being republics, but through the Jewish trade routes and the information networks, and the fact that so many Jews were like in the ear of the king in courts throughout Europe, and all the Mamluks, all the powers of the Middle East, all the Saracens, the Mamluks, the Moors, they all had Jewish administrators, Jewish tax assessors. They all had Jewish translators, accountants. These people are very well set up. They've always been international. So they literally fomented the Crusades. And to even continue the Crusades, they had developed psyops like the Prester John story, which is a total psyop, absolute BS. Are you familiar with that Prester John episode?
No.
Okay. The first and second crusade were very successful. Most people don't know it was the Jews that wired this up, and they were playing both sides from the middle. There were Jews in the ears of the Muslims and in the Turks, and there was Jews in the ears of the Christian Crusaders and in the Christians themselves. And the spearhead for the Crusades were the Normans. The Norman knights were the most feared among the knights outside of. Farther north, we had the German knights, but they didn't really participate a whole lot till later. The Norman knights spearheaded the initial crusades, and the Norman knights were direct descendants of Vikings who had settled in northern France. This ties in with the Shroud of Turin, in the origin of the Shroud of Turin as being the shroud of a Norman knight. And I've done a video showing an exegetical analysis on all the texts of the 11th, 12th, and 13th century that talked about the shroud, and they knew it was the shroud of a knight. It was the church that later on turned it into the shroud of Jesus, and it wasn't. It was the shroud of a decorated knight whose body had been taken back to be buried in France during the Crusades. So all this is in my video on the Turin deal, but this is the same time period, and we have this massive war for Jerusalem being fomented, and the Christians are wired up, but it was a land grab. It wasn't really to get Jerusalem, and the Jews never really wanted anybody to liberate Jerusalem because they needed Jerusalem to be either occupied by Muslims or either occupied by Christians. To the Jewish power structure that was run from Iran, called the Exilarchy, they didn't care. They didn't care who possessed Jerusalem. They just needed one side or the other because it made it so much easier to fleece massive amounts of resources and wealth and land from either side. In the case of Europe, all these knights and all these, a knight took his retainers. The retainers had household guards, household staff. When a knight went to war, hundreds, sometimes thousands of people were in his train. So this massive population of people moved with the few people that were actually doing the fighting. When they went into the Middle East to fight, and they come across the Saracens, they come across the Turks, and they get wiped out or whatever, well, all those people get sold into the Jewish slave markets. All those people get captured, sold, and they're sent all over. Europeans were sold in slave markets for close to 500-600 years because of these wars. So when they go down there, but at the same time, all this land comes up for sale. So on the church and state side in Europe, they were in on it too, just like they are today. Just like state departments and just like different areas and governmental bodies today are in bed with these people to do the things they do. It has not changed since the Crusades and before. The church and state on their side went ahead and started accusing the females of witchcraft, started to accuse them of working against the state, some of them being mentally imbalanced. They found ways to lock them in nunneries. And by doing this, they could confiscate the estates of the knights that died on Muslim battlefields. So, and all this was wired up. All this was wired up by false intelligence that were released by Jews. You got to understand, the Jews spoke every language. There are German, Genoan, French, Italian, Portuguese, Libyan, Maltese, Palestinian. It doesn't matter, Egyptian. There's always Jews in every culture. They always speak every language, but they all speak a language common to each other as well. And they don't answer to the countries that they live in. They answer to the exilarchy. So it's the exilarchy that's making all these power moves. So in Europe, Adam, all these knights are now losing all their stuff to the church and state. The church and state love it. They divide the spoils. And of course, there's Jewish administrators there taking their cut as well. And these back alley deals are how different countries would accept, 7,000 or 8,000 Jews into their country. Okay, they make a deal. Okay, cool. Y'all can have this area now and build your little community, and they would do it. And then, as you know, 1,100 and something times in just a 900-year period, European nations have kicked Jews out of their country because they realize after being there for 150 years, what happens? It's parasitic. Their economies collapse. All this wealth is siphoned out. The old legends and traditions about coin clippers and stuff, that shit was real. It was very real. When you only have a small minority of people and they're all the same ethnicity, that all the coin of the realm is collected by in order for the king to get his money, by the time the king got his money, you would have squared off coins. You'd have coins that no longer would have ribbing. You'd have coins that were completely sheared off and damaged. And they would always blame the people for this, but it was actually shaving the silver, shaving the copper, shaving the gold off of coins. And when you do that to all the coins in the realm for years and years and years, you build a lot of wealth on top of the usury, on top of all the other financial scams. So these crusades were dying out, and more Europeans were like, "No, man, I'm not going to die on a Muslim battlefield for these people, man. I'm not. Yeah, screw Jerusalem." So all of a sudden, a new psyop was born. And the psyop was there's a big white dude way over here on the other side of the world named Prester John, the priest.
You know what I've known for a long time, but I never tell people, I don't know why. The Christian, Muslim, Jewish, the big three religions, very closely remind me of Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon, right? It's like these three brothers that are all just a pain in the ass on their own. And if I had to guess, I would guess Poseidon, definitely Muslim. Hades and Zeus, I think, would interchange each other's roles, because some people think Hades is a bad guy and some people think Zeus is a bad guy. So I think that's where we get that kind of like changing of the hands. But I think that is like, the ancient mythological origins of these annoying ass religions that all need to come to an end.
John, and he's got a massive army somewhere in the India Far East area where Alexander the Great ended up one time, and he's got this massive Christian army. And the psyop was talking about, well, this is from the 18 years that Jesus was in India. So this is the part of the psyop, it's part of the pseudo history, and the rumors throughout Europe spread like wildfire. Oh man, if we invade Jerusalem again, this time we might get help from Prester John and his massive army, and we'll have the Muslims surrounded. And the Christians fell for it again, and they did a third, fourth, and fifth crusade, and they go to liberate Jerusalem, and it's no good. And again, the same old thing. Land and wealth changes hands. Women are falsely accused. The burning times begins after that, and witchcraft got totally out of hand. Initially, women were being killed and falsely accused so they could take their estates when their husbands died in foreign lands. Now it became even worse. Now under the Dominicans and on the friars, now women were being selected, because there were so many of them that had inherited so many estates from those who had died in earlier crusades. So yeah, this is I talk a lot about this on Archaics TV. This is the subject matter of videos on Archaics TV. I do talk on YouTube about a lot of Jewish psyops and a lot of not just Jewish psyops, but psyops period. Like
all right, maybe there's a glitch in the Matrix or I just missed it, but like I swear I was listening to this dude earlier talk about how the death, burial, and resurrection couldn't be possible. So interesting. What's up, Pookly P? My internet Dobby. I just watched Harry Potter for the first time. Loved it. It's like 105 million degrees outside, so this is an ice pack to stay cool. Whew. Let's listen to Fleur Brun talk about real snatching. Real snatching. In all seriousness, real snatching is horrible. It's a horrible thing that it should not be a thing. Huh, not coming up. Huh. Fleur Brun, brown flower. Well, she's certainly brown. So she speaks on behalf of a lot of Andromedan, if that's, a real thing, and, melanated people.
To do with the towers, the frequencies that they were rolling out, causing people who had heightened amount of Mogellans, metals, fibers of nano inside of them to be high fire wired and to and basically glitch out and pass out. So the images we were seeing were being purposefully propaganda to us to further make people fear. Then when everybody got the Kukarachi shot and then others were fearful, they started to do detoxes. And part of the detoxes was parasite cleansing. And who would have known that parasite cleanses gets rid of what? It not only gets rid of, little bots from flies and things like that, it gets rid of worms. Worms of mass destruction, the same worms that are sitting in the lining of the anal cavity of the butt of mass destruction, the poop chute that is being engaged with regularly by a certain demographics of people, but not solely them. So at the time that the Willy Wonka system knew that all these men were now getting the very things that they bioweaponly sent out into the population, that they were getting rid of it, they needed to inject them with the very thing to bring them back to square, back to having infestation, so that they would start passing around the worm and reinfecting people like body snatchers. But it was butt booty snatchers. It was butt body booty snatchers. So butt booty body snatch. Wait, butt booty BBBS, not like BBL, but it's BBBS, right? Okay. They were pushing it. So they didn't want you to get it. So what did they do? Monkey balls. No one ever talks about the monkeypox shots. How come all these so-called YouTubers who are so-called whistleblowers, that's how you know they're infected with the real worm in their butt? They're infected with the real worm in their butt because they don't even talk about it. It's almost like they don't remember that there was this whole big psyop of pushing and promoting for everyone to get shots, because they showed all these good-looking guys with really tan bodies and buff bodies, because that's like that community loves that visual look, very beautiful men, showing them with bumps all over the face. And what happened? You don't realize a whole bunch of men from that community got that shot. And thus, the vril was infected inside of their systems. And for some reason, the vril butt worm likes the chemistry, the the chemistry of a male's butt as opposed to a woman. For some reason, when women get infected with the vril anally, it does not make them as sexually deviant or as overly craving sex. Remember, if you want to think I'm playing games and you think I'm talking smack, go look at videos. I'm going to give you some proof because you think I'm crazy. Go look at the videos on the zombie snail. Go look at a video on the zombie ant. And go tell me what when these insects get infected. Let's talk about the zombie snail. It gets infected with this parasite. It looks like a straight worm. It goes inside of their butt. Once it affects it, it takes over the brain. Once the brain is taking over, you'll see like the zombie snail. His eyes will be all crazy looking, looks like something out of a bad cartoon. Then he starts to move and make himself food for a mouse. And when the mouse eats it or another type of mammal eats it, it tends to want to project that animal to go in the sight of a cat and sit in front of a cat. So the cat will bite it and eat it because the only way it can reproduce itself is inside of the only way that it can reproduce itself is inside of a cat system. Okay? So remember, and not all cats, and I want you to remember, not all cats are the same. Remember, the lions, the lyrians, all of these other beings, they don't have slit eyes. Why is it that on this planet, the things that are felines, how come a lot of cats, like the lion, I think does the panther? I don't think does the panther have slit eyes? I don't think so. There are certain bigger cats, felines, that do not have serpent eyes, reptilian eyes, right? You don't think that's odd that a cat would have reptilian eyes? You don't think that there's been some sort of hybridization of specific types of species that adds a reptilian DNA to change its propensities? Okay, so this is very important for you to know that, again, why would it be important for this type of parasites to go inside of a cat in order to reproduce itself and then go back all over again and try to reinfest a bug, to reinfest a rat or some sort of rodent, and then excuse me, and then to reinfest itself inside of a cat to go over it again. Okay, why do I mention this? Is because it's really important for you to understand that during this whole perpetuation of hypersexualization of men and men's sexuality, and I don't think you realize the industrial prison system. I personally think they probably have it in their water, and they serve these men food, so they probably put the vril, certain worms or certain egg sacs in their food or in the water, which would actually make them latent with probably these parasites. And next thing you know, they're using the same toilets. It could reinfest itself. And if there's homosexual sex happening, which is perpetuated there, because a lot of these men get locked up for a long period of time, and many of them have sex with other men, that is how they get infested. And then they'll let them out, and then they'll infest the environment and the people and places and things around them. And it's also one of the reasons why there's a perpetuation of trying to have sex with little boys. There's obsession with these beings wanting to have sex with little boys from very young so that they can insert the vril inside of them. This is my personal opinion. And I also think that is when you hear about, it's kind of like possession. When you hear about many people talking about, many people talking about when they have sex anally with anyone, including women, they talk about hearing the thoughts of the person who they were engaged in anally with. So there's some sort of mind control programming, some sort of link, or some sort of there's some sort of link that happens when they tap into the kundalini, when the base of the kundalini is accessed by this worm. It sends telepathic messages, making them listen and hear commands from the host, the person who infected them. It's like a vampire or some sort of possession movie. Okay. And if you don't believe me, go look. Always vet me out. I could be crazy. I am drug free. I haven't drank. I'm not sipping on the yak, not quite yet. Okay. So when I share these things with you, always vet me out. I could be crazy. Go vet me out. See if I'm making this up. Go look at what happens when an insect is infested with a parasite. Look at what happens to zombie snails. Look what happens to zombie deers. What happens to them? Just look at that and see if.
All right, I gotta look up the zombie snail. Snail zombies, National Geographic? It's so scary. Wait till you see this.
Snail zombies from your backyard. The body of this amber snail has been invaded by leucochloridium worms, turning it into a pulsating snail zombie. This is the bizarre result of the microscopic worm's journey from snail to bird and back again. After incubating in the snail, huge numbers of the parasite's larvae invade the snail's eye stalks. The larvae become vividly colored and puff up the usually slender eye stalks to resemble pulsating caterpillars. Since birds like this pied flycatcher can't resist these lures, they pick at them and end up ingesting the parasite at the same time. After all, bird guts are these worms' ideal haven for reproduction. Eventually, the bird eliminates the new worm eggs through defecation, and the snail laps up this poopy, egg-infested snack. Yum! And so, the cycle continues. But wait, there are not one, but two fascinating twists to this story. First, the snail's mind is seemingly controlled by the worms. The infected snail actually crawls into plain view of birds as the sun rises, something the snails never do on their own. It's as if the worms reprogram the snail's brain for their own nefarious purpose. Final fact, some snails that have been infected actually live longer than those that haven't. I mean, how's that for irony?
Ew. Nasty. That's nasty.
Creepy and outrageous. It could be something very small, minuscule, something that is very non, you wouldn't worry about. Okay. So why do I bring this up is because there's been this purposeful design for males, especially males that are melanated, to stop mating with melanated females. And again, you've got all of these social media things purposefully propaganding the most diabolical imagery and levitating and and lifting up the most depraved of the society and making it seem that that's what women of color are, especially in the Americas. And why I say the Americas is because in the Americas is where the most dark images of melanated women is perpetuated. And that also is a good signal and a sign that that is the bloodline of the very women of the cosmonauts, that they do not want to have a feeling of power or empowerment because of what is coming and what is about to show up and what is here. Okay? The cosmonauts, the melanated, Black, Andromedan cosmonauts are on their way. That is why there's erected images of melanites, of Negroidians being erected all over the place to pay homage in a way to fake the funk for the extraterrestrials that are about to show up, to make it seem like they're in cohesion with the Melanites, the bloodline, and the seed of the Andromedans that they've been treating and mistreating and ill representing for the last maybe over quite a few years. Okay. And this representation of Leo, again, represents the gates. The guardians of the gates are always the lions. The Lyrians guard the gates. And the fact that they named him Leo with the bloodline of the Haitian, the Creole bloodline, it means that there's a change of guard. It means that the gates are about to be open to the melanated women, the cosmonauts that seeded the very magic that many of us have witnessed, participated with, and have acknowledged over the last 100 years. So I really think this is an exciting time. I think everyone should pay attention. And again, that is also why the men that have done the most harm to melanated women are all being arrested. If you notice, there has been consequences to men that mistreated, spoken ill of, or have done anything diabolical to melanated women. They're not going to tell you, but if you use your discernment, if you look at all the celebrities that are being arrested, that are being made examples of, look at the behavior and look at the main suspects of abuse that they chose, the people that they chose, the main victims that they chose. And I don't think a lot, like within the whole Sean Combs thing, I mean, you got to understand to yourself, if you listen to some of the depraved behavior, and I don't know if that is criminal to behave sexually deprived. I don't know if that's enough to criminally, get at people. But I think what you have to realize is if you're a real being in this holographic system, you're going to be held accountable. Now, the problem is that you have these men running around being guided by Jesuits, by Satanists, by Babylonians that aren't real. These are social construct holographic beings that are set in this system by other beings to perpetuate certain low vibrational behavior and to illuminate that so others follow suit. So the problem is that you have some real beings. You know how Pinocchio wanted to be I want to be a real being, like Pinocchio said. Real people, real beings with souls encased in them that are emulating these non-playable characters, and they are getting consequences where the hologram doesn't get a consequence for it. You ask about the Epsteins and all that. What if I told you a lot of these beings aren't even real? They're holographic main character bait industry plants that are purposefully meant to perpetrate certain behavior that others who are real get caught in the webs. And then when they get caught in the webs, they get consequences for it. So if you're a melanated man and you're mistreating melanated women and you've been doing diabolical things to maybe perhaps your children, your mother, your sisters, or you've been talking ill, there's going to be a higher consequence if you're a real being. Because again, in the eyes of the Andromedans, the cosmonauts, you were actually set here as guardians and as protectors and as builders to the melanated women that were here from their bloodline. And if you weren't doing your job and you weren't, upholding your positions and holding your post properly, then you're getting consequences. I talked about these soldiers that contacted me a while ago and said that a lot of these men are going to be taken out because of their lack of discernment, their lack of self-mastery and self-guidance. And they will be held in criminal contempt, and a lot of them will be taken out, or like this Puffy character, this Sean Combs character, illuminated and humiliated, and all of his depraved behavior will be used as examples to show, like, this is what, if you do this to our bloodline, our melanated Creole bloodline, you are going to have a consequence if you hurt anyone of the Andromedan bloodline. So a lot of these males that are being shown in public eye, they were doing harm to the Andromedan's bloodline. And now they're being made examples. You don't get away with doing that when you're a real being. If you're an artificial being, if you're a golem, and it's the same thing that they say all the time. You hear these people say, oh, golems aren't real people. They're projecting that which they are. If you're a holographic being, if you are a cabbage patch, soul, meaning that you weren't soul encased from your from your conception, meaning that you were created in a laboratory, you haven't the same consequences as a soul being that's coming from outside of the firmament. There is a consequence that is assigned to those who have souls that isn't assigned to those who are soulless. That's why they do a whole lot of things and you don't see consequences, because they aren't real and they aren't soul encased. There isn't a consequence. They're stuck here. This is their world. Once they leave their body, they're done, unless they take their essence and try to place it or absorb it and place it into another bioborg, put it in the AI system, recycle it into another clone, hybrid it into another Cabbage Patch. That's the only way that they can coexist here, but they don't leave here. They are byproducts of the holographic system we call this imprisonment, and they aren't allowed to leave here. They can't. They're not real. But if you are a real being encased with the soul, there's a consequence when you behave depraved and against your basic your principles, your values, why you were inserted here. You come with certain core things that you have to do while you're here, certain ways to maintain yourself as a soul being. You are being held accountable by, out in the outside the firmament, and all of your deeds are being accounted for. Hold on. So I think that's all I want to say to you today. I'm really excited. I'm finally excited that our sea stars, our cosmonauts, the Andromedans are coming back. They're here. I look forward to having a great liaison. I know that I myself have to do some cleansing, some clearing to kind of clear the field, because the Andromedans are no joke. Those are the cosmonauts that come here they're almost like Amazonians. They're just very, it's almost like we have to be on our P's and Q's, C star. We got to clean up. And I live a pretty chaste life, but just the fact that they're coming up is like cleaning up your closet. Like, I got to clean the closet. I got to clean under the bed. I got to start clearing myself up, getting my mind together. Once the Andromedans are on deck, I know I got to get myself together. This is a magical time. The erected images of the melanated women, though they look the way they do, we perceive them. It means everything to do with who's in house right now. Who's in the house, okay? So that is a great sign. For a lot of the females, you will see consequences to males who do the most depraved things. And for the gentlemen who do well, let's stop talking about the ones who don't, because there's some amazing sun stars out here living with such integrity, such protective qualities, are great pillars of admiration. They're good role models, great fathers. So we want to also honor them. I think a lot of times, when we think of terms of men, I think even with myself, I can talk about the ones who do unwell and do harm, but let's start putting more illumination on the men who really been about that life, who are doing well, taking care of themselves. They really love their families. They are pillars in their societies. They are standing firm in protection, and they are builders, and they show up well in this realm. We have to make sure that we illuminate them, and we also hold them high, because there's a lot of street urchins, poop swimming, low vibrational males who don't want the other males illuminated, because then it will show and illuminate how low vibrational they are. And also for the sea stars, just for us, it's time. I see a lot of you doing the work, working on yourselves, really dedicating yourself to your families. I honor that. I respect that. With a lot of us, I think we're going to have to really conjoin together, start to make great decisions based on starting to build olive branches with each of the sisterhood. Because again, when the Andromedans show up, it's really going to start to redefine how we as women, as we as females on this planet, interface with each other. They have high standards, high bars, and it's going to make us live and be better and live up to higher standards even for ourselves. So I'm excited. I don't know about you, but this is the time. The Andromedans are here. I actually think they're here, but I actually think they're coming as well. So I'm excited. I plan to make myself open and receptive. Again, I've been a contactee, and also I'm seated from the Andromedans. This is the time I've been waiting for. Many of you have been waiting for, Sea Stars. And also for gentlemen, if you've been doing harm to children, women, and also are most vulnerable on the planet, you're about to get your exit papers. You're about to get your papers to leave, or you will be forced to leave. Okay, so your time here is very, very limited, and I look forward to seeing the cleanup of our society based on that. And also we're in pole shift time, y'all. It's about a shift. So I look forward to hearing your comments. Please add your thing. I will give some references to the connection to Trump and the Haitian bloodline, which is really fascinating. Also, I think there was another reference I said I was going to give you. Just remind me again. Let me know your opinions. Be respectful. Again, if I'm not your cup of tea, why are you here? You obviously, I'm a contactee. I talk about aliens.
Dang, it's kind of hard to top Floor Bren. Joe, this is so fun. Hi, T. Thanks for your comments. It's hot as hell in Texas. It's so hot in here. Okay, I'm making the salsa now. For real, we're going to finish making the salsa. And I can eat it. So first things first, we're going to take the tomatoes out of the oven. So they're doing this construction down the road. And they have like all these orange cones lined up to steer traffic in a certain direction. And it goes on for maybe a quarter mile. So I run out, do my errands, and I come back same way. Somebody had run over all the orange cones. And it's so funny because, like, you'll be like, oh my God, that's such a dick. But then also it's like, I don't know. It's kind of a accurate mirror to society, of society. At first, you kind of like, what a dick. And all the old boomers are like, what a depraved a-hole. But there's another side of me that's like, actually, I mean, this is the world we live in. Like, yeah. It wasn't violent, right? It was just disruptive. Crazy, funny. Really hope you've been doing okay. Girl, I stay okay. Been enjoying your vids. We way ahead of our time up in here. I think it's a lot like people are saying it more and more, like, that are aware. It's like the holographic people, right? She was calling them like Cabbage Patch Kids. It's like these soulless people. It's like diluted in a sea of their culture and their influence. That's all. Okay, we're going to scoop the cooked tomato, onion, garlic, jalapeno into the blender. So I feel like with this weird like changeover covenant closing, because the covenant's going to close obviously at some point, people are starting to say some really crazy anti-Christal things. But they're like, they might seem like nice people. And they might have, I think the difference is going to be good personality or bad personality. Because like Archaics was like, how can I believe in this, crucifixion, death, burial, resurrection, walking on water, feeding all these people with a loaf of bread and 2 fish, yada, yada, yada. He's like, how can I believe that when we don't do it now? And I feel like he's not necessarily speaking like he's trying to discredit it. He's just like, I'm a realist, and you can't make me, right? You can't make me. That's the thing. They probably come from church hurt. Like, you can't make me believe this. And I think that's fair. You know, it doesn't mean the man's not saved. Like, I don't know, only God knows. Because he doesn't believe in some of, the fantastical things of Jesus. I mean, maybe he's a Mark of the Beast Christian, right? Maybe he wants that Mark of the Beast so bad. They don't care. I mean, I guess you can believe in the covenant without believing in all the other stuff. And, so people are just talking so much, it's like, I feel like at the end of the day, the difference is, do you have a good personality? Are you a good person? Do people like hanging out with you? All right, we're going to blend this up. Bring this closer. Watch. Oh, so fun. You live, you laugh, you laugh. Live, laugh, live. What's the opposite of live, laugh, love? Just as a joke. What's the opposite? All right, I want this to be very cilantro heavy, I think. Or I might just ruin it, but I don't know if you can ruin the salsa because the ingredients are also tasty. This is definitely getting too full. Hope it doesn't require me to take this shit back out. Yeah, hopefully just great to be around people who see what's going on. Well, I don't know if it's like necessarily that. It's just like some people have a really good energetic vibration and some people don't. Like, I feel like my salon is really just, it's like, you vibe attracts your tribe, and we're all so similar. And it's funny because we like slowly found out none of us got the vaccine. Like, it's not something you go around advertising, but it's so funny. Like, none of it, and it's like all similar vibe. Our clients are all similar. They're attracted to the high vibe. That's why they come. And yeah, I feel like it's a vibration thing. Like, I swear my clients give me energy. I swear I like get healing at work because I'm so isolated at home. It's, I drink a lot, drink way too much. Spend all my time alone at home. I like recharge my batteries around my clients. Most of them recharge my batteries. Truly. My coworkers. So hopefully this isn't too much. Hi from Ireland. A few minutes behind, was making something to eat. Oh, yeah. No, we've been here an hour, son. What's this? Emoji. The ball of soup? What part of Ireland? Yeah, no vax either. I saw this comedian made a joke about it. And it was like mean, But it was cool how a guy with this huge audience can say this. I'm finding it right now on my phone. And, these are the times that we live in now. But, like, back in the day, it was like, it's secret if you even didn't get it. I think think I can go to my liked videos on Instagram. I never do that though. Find them. Okay. Likes. Here it is. Watch this.
Vaccinators, you were real cocky a couple months ago. We got vaccinated. Got my second shot April 19th. I can't get sick from the corona. I'm vaccinated. See this bucket of virus? I'm vaccinated. I'll even lick metal. I'm not afraid of anything. I don't have to wear a mask. People vaccinated are getting sick. What? You need a new booster. What? Who wants a shot? Who wants to see a ball game? Wave your flipper. That's for you. Go see the ball game. Who wants to work again? That's for you. Who wants their kids educated? What's in the shot? It's safe. Don't worry. Don't worry. The vaccinators, you were real cocky a couple months ago. We got vaccinated.
So that's cool. A guy that big of an audience can speak like that and everyone's laughing. Glad we avoided the gas mask timeline. I do think that we do skip over timelines. Like, I think the timeline of James Casbolt being the final pope, the Antichrist, I think that's coming and going. And maybe that's why he's in such a prideful rebellion right now. Because I didn't want that for him. But this fucking bitch, I was gonna be rich and famous. We'll be rich and famous for something else, you know? Oh, it's smelling good. Oh, the perfect amount. Fit right in the blender. All right, now for the spices. Oregano, heavy. I love the smell of oregano. Okay. This is just a very ingredient-heavy salsa. Chili powder. It's so hard for the chili powder to come out of the freaking thing. Like, hardly any is coming out. We're just going to do this. Boop. That should do it. Oh my god, what if this is way too spicy and I can't even eat it? Cumin seeds. Oh, fuck, I didn't want seeds. You want powder. Oh, well. Oh, well. In this recipe, they put sugar in it. I never thought to put sugar in it, but it's probably salty enough. I'm going to skip the salt. And I'm going to try it without sugar. And then I'm going to try it with sugar. So these are spices. I love this rage. Yeah, I could do this every day. Because I feel like this day and age, you have to be so healthy, right? And you don't really want to go and, you know, restaurant hopping or stuff like that. Like takeout, there's too much of that. I want to make all my own stuff. And it's like a part-time job. Like, I feel like I took tomorrow off because I have to meal prep. Like, it takes it's a good chunk of the day. And you got to do this thing every week. I mean, really, it's like meal prepping is like the new health insurance. You know, and I'm trying to get more organic of almost everything. Right away, it tastes like pizza sauce. Because it's hot and there's oregano in it. Gosh, I wish I could probably cool it down in the fridge fast. I'm gonna put a little olive oil in it because olive oil is a natural preservative. So the reason why I'm trying this new recipe, I make my own salsa all the time, but it seems like lately it's not preserving very well in the refrigerator. Like olive oil only goes so far. So it dawned on me, if I look at other recipes, because I would just do my own, just from my own trial and error, but I thought I'd actually look up people's recipes. A lot of people want to use canned tomatoes, and I don't want to do that. You know, to me, it's like a mental thing. Like, I don't want to eat canned tomatoes. It sounds gross. And I thought, well, I wonder if it would preserve better because it would get wilted. The salsa would get wilted in the fridge, and then you don't want to eat it because it's kind of like a nasty texture. So I thought, I wonder if you cook down the tomato, it would make it way better. So that was how I got to this recipe. Way better, dude. David, you would look perfect in my kitchen. How do I know you're not a real person? Are you like an AI bot? Are you one of those like new AI generated beings? I think this is good. I don't have to do too much to it. I want to try a little bit with sugar in it. I don't know, it like tastes like tomatoes are kind of sweet already. All right, we're gonna try a little bit with sugar in it. And I obviously love to cook, so I could do this every day. I could do this all day, every day. All right. Let's do a tiny bit of sugar. No V here either. I would imagine most people... I started asking my clients again because I was curious. Some of my clients really did get it. But I don't know. It's weird with sugar. I'm not going to waste it, though. Yeah, this is weird. What channels do I like to watch? I like to watch TikTok. You know, because I don't really socialize, but I have people on TikTok. It's like we all watch each other's videos and we update each other like every night. Like that's why I talk so much shit on my TikTok. I gotta calm down though. I'm getting to sound a little schizophrenic, but that's kind of the point. I feel like is to like accurately mirror to society. Like this world does not deserve like a totally just pristine and normal Lauren Pritchard. No. This world deserves virtual straitjacket Lauren Pritchard. Like, you wish, buttworms. You only wish you could throw me in a cage, you buttworms. Old guys. Old white guys. Actually, the JEWS, they don't consider themselves to be white. To each other, but they pretend to be white. Fun fact about JEWS. See, I like to watch TikTok. I really like Lion of Judah. You guys know that channel? Like, it's like kind of a cheesy channel, maybe. I don't know, but I really tend to like Lion of Judah, like every time. Like, I want to watch it every time, and I want to listen to the whole... It's like kind of in the background. It's like not super like thinking heavy, but Lion of Judah. I'll show you. I don't know. The sugar and the salsa is growing on me. It's not so bad now. I try to avoid sugar, but I know you need a little bit of it. I try to avoid it for my teeth. I don't want cavities. I get them too easily. And that shit's getting so expensive. So, Lion of Judah. So I just try to not eat sugar and like brush my teeth, of course. And I got the hydroxyapatite toothpaste, which reverses cavities. Because I had a lot of surface cavities. And I really do feel like those dark spots are a lot lighter in color because it's really working. Hydroxyapatite. I use David's hydroxyapatite. You could just Amazon David's toothpaste. It's the best. And my teeth are by far whiter than they've ever been. This is Lion of Judah. I don't know. It's like not cheese.
Trends and political distractions, this declaration should have sparked international discussion. Trump stated that his administration had played a crucial role in preventing what he described as a potential bad nuclear war between India and Pakistan.
On Saturday, my administration helped broker a full and immediate ceasefire, I think a permanent one, between India and Pakistan, ending a dangerous conflict of two nations with lots of nuclear weapons. And they were going at it hot and heavy, and it was seemingly not going to stop.
While the media gave it some coverage, most of the world carried on, barely noticing the magnitude of what was claimed. The tensions between India and Pakistan are not new. Since their separation in 1947, following the end of British colonial rule, these two nations have fought multiple wars and engaged in countless skirmishes, primarily over the disputed region of Kashmir. Both nations are now nuclear powers. With a combined population of over 1.5 billion people, any conflict between them threatens not just the region, but the entire globe.
And
So I wouldn't be super inclined to watch this one because I don't feel like we're supposed to know everything that's going on all over the world. Like back in the day, and maybe it's, a female thing, we only could concern ourselves with our immediate community. So that's what I do. So I wouldn't be so inclined to watch this particular video, but I really do like Lion of Judah. Like all the time. There's some channels that I might want to watch or might not. There's nobody I watch super regularly. Especially I feel like as everything is shifting and changing, it's like I can't handle the people that are still so diehard culty Christian. I can't handle them anymore. It's too much. And then it's like anything else. That's a good question. I mean, let me look at my history. What do I even watch? Can I categorize it? So I tried, this has more salt. I'm trying more salt. I hardly ever watch Flora Broughton, but I don't know, something told me to click on it, and she happened to be talking about vril worms. So, it's kind of funny how information flows. Okay, so I didn't actually watch a lot of these. I just kind of like regular people just talking regular. So this was enjoyable.
Good morning. A little bit after 5 o'clock a.m. here. Sun's starting to come up over there. And wanted to talk about a subject that I actually preached on many years ago. The pre-trib rapture judgment is what I called it. Now, of course, it's more accurate to call it the time of Jacob's trouble, the catching up before the time of Jacob's trouble, not
Most
so much
High,
pre-trib rapture,
Pagan,
but
barbarian. His
so
name is
people understand what I'm talking
good.
about there. And the point of it being a judgment is that it's a separation of saved and lost people. And that's a very serious thing. There are a lot of people that profess to be Christian, and they're not. The Bible talks about being in perils among false brethren. And if you've been saved for any length of time, you will meet false brethren. And you will understand that they'll talk the talk for a little while, but you start to get a little bit too much into the truth, and they'll get mad at you, and they'll act just like a lost person. That's because they are a lost person. But I've seen this thing over the years where people will get so upset about the rapture issue, and they'll say it's the pre-trib fib, it's a rapture lie, John Nelson Darby created it, blah, blah, blah. You don't deal with the scriptures, deal with who created it and the origin of it or whatever else. And of course, John Nelson Darby did not create the quote pre-trib rapture doctrine. That's a bunch of nonsense, and I've answered it time and time again, and I don't even need to cover it again because I've got so many different studies proving in detail that no, he didn't create it. No, the Jesuits didn't create it. All these stupid lies that people come up with. But it's an interesting portion of scripture I'm going to read here from my little Bible. Matthew chapter 12, beginning in verse 36. But I say unto you that every idle word, turn the page here, that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. And here's the point. For by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. What these people are not even realizing is they're actually condemning themselves with their words, with their speech. What do I mean by that? There is no pre-trib rapture. We're not, we're not going anywhere. We're going to be right here for the great tribulation, they say, or the time of Jacob's trouble. We're not going anywhere. There is no rapture. Well, actually, they're condemning themselves with their own words because they're right. You see, if you believe, I'll say it this way, that the Lord is going to send you into a time where you could lose your salvation by taking the mark of the beast and worshiping the beast in his image, giving yourself over to that whole system where you lose your free will because of the electronic manipulation and the artificial intelligence stuff that they're going to be doing. If you believe that God's going to put you into a time that you could actually lose your salvation, then yes, you are correct. You are lost. Okay. You do not understand the whole point of salvation. You don't understand the fact that you are redeemed by the blood of the Lamb. You are born again. You don't understand that. You don't understand the new birth. And so these people that come out and they're posties, oh, we're going to go through the whole thing, or we're going to go through part of it, or whatever else. You're actually condemning yourself with your own words. And you can't get up there. Why didn't you catch me up, Lord? Why'd you leave me here? You were saying that you were staying. What do you mean? And of course, I have enough brains to understand that there are some people that newly get saved and they fall for some of these lies, and for a little while they're posties or something. I get it. Again, I'm not condemning those people. What I'm condemning is people that do know the arguments, that have gone through some of my sermons or other sermons out there that prove the catching up of the body of Christ is before the time of Jacob's trouble gets started. John gets called up, and and there are other saved people up there when he gets there. And he's up there before the Antichrist is even unleashed in Revelation chapter 6. There's no way around that. Okay, you can pretend, well, he was in spirit, and well, it's just this, and it's just that. Yeah, I know. I've been through all of the arguments, forward and backwards and sideways and upside down and whatever. I've gone through all those arguments over the years. There's no new argument from the postie camp that I have not heard before and I have not answered. And I don't say that out of pride. I just say that out of the fact. Okay. So, you're not going to convince me. And little arrogant little people out there that, well, Brian, please study this issue more. Then you'll find that you're wrong. You're trying to get me to deny my salvation is the whole thing. You see, Ephesians chapter 1 talks about that we are redeemed, or that we've been purchased until the day of redemption, basically. getting the wording mixed up in my mind right now. It's Ephesians chapter 1. But it talks about being that there's a day of redemption. And I've told this story before, and that is that I bought a motorcycle many years ago on eBay. It was a leftover KLR 650 Kawasaki dual sport motorcycle, and I got it on eBay for a really good price. And it was at a dealership down in West Virginia when I was living in Pennsylvania, and it was the town where my older sister and her husband live, and they live outside of the town on a farm. But and they said, okay, we'll keep this motorcycle for you when you can come down and pick it up, and we'll have it on the showroom floor, but it's going to have your name on it. This motorcycle has been redeemed. It's been purchased, I should say. It's been purchased by Brian Denlinger, and it has a tag on it that says so. And it will stay here on this showroom floor until the day of redemption, the day that he comes here with his pickup truck and puts it in the back and takes it home. Well, that's a sort of a bad picture, perhaps not the best analogy of us being purchased by the Lord, but it works. Okay. You have been purchased by Jesus Christ. Understand that. There's no thing coming in. Well,
All right, here you have it. Salsa chat. Here it is. We made it. We did it. It feels good to accomplish something just so small and simple. See, I like this dude, and he speaks truth about the small hats. I would never read the Torah, but he did a video. He was like revealing some of the most unbelievably pedophilic stuff, like for real, like point blank in the Torah. I mean, yeah, like I wish more people would talk about this. This is crazy. And it just, you're like, what? Same thing with the Muslims, like Muhammad marrying a 9-year-old. What? And you people don't care. Like this is the like religious delusion that I can't get over, is like people will hold on to their religion, their cult, even after like all these truths about their religion is coming out, when you don't need religion. You just needed a relationship with God through Jesus Christ. Now that covenant's coming to a close. So I guess it's Lucifer now. I guess you got Lucifer. That's what you got. That's what you're left with. I've always been J-woke. It's just you get so censored talking about the small hats. I was born J-woke. Like I had to tell myself as a young adult, oh, I like Jews. I want to find a Jewish man. I want to marry a Jewish, like I had this like Jew obsession. Like I wanted so badly to like them. When I got older and I realized the reality is they don't have good personalities. That's all. They don't tend to be very nice to me either. For no reason. Jealous. It's a jealousy from their race that I experience. It's a jealousy, and it's like this like need to control. So it's funny how like my soul was trying so hard, my young adult life. I can friend a JEWISH woman, and we can have so much fun for such a short amount of time before she loses her freaking mind, like in a huge way. And this has happened over and over and over and over again. Like I will not friend a crazy small hat lady anymore because they all do the same stuff. We have so much fun. It's so easy to get along with them. It's like they're monitoring spirits. And then at some point, they go nuts. Super jealous, try to rob you in some weird way. Yeah, they don't like the goyim. Why would they not? Why would they not like us? It's because we must have something that they don't, you know. But that's okay. The Antichrist is their Messiah, so maybe they'll get a little less insufferable because they're gonna have a new leader who's gonna, like, they need to be like under control, right? The Antichrist is going to have them under control, and it's probably going to make them less insufferable and maybe more happy, right? This is their Messiah. They might be all happy and excited, and maybe we can all be friends again. Well, Super Scrotum, hi, Lauren. He says they hate what they fear. They hate a lot of stuff. They're very negative. Oh, man. What else? We'll hang out for another 20. What else do I watch? What else do I like? Good question, Joe. She asked what I like to listen to, and I guess I'm trying to, like, I don't think there's any rhyme or reason. I feel like I just kind of, I don't know, scroll through every morning and see what looks good, and I create a queue. Do y'all do this? Do we all do the same stuff? Like, I wake up with my coffee, I scroll through YouTube, and I create a queue of videos that I might want to watch or listen to that day, especially while I'm, like, cooking and cleaning. I don't really listen to it at work. I'm just pretty entertained at work. See, I don't know why some of these videos I did not watch, but they're in my history. Woodward TV did a really good one. Oh my goodness. Here it is. Is Our World an Illusion? We'll wrap it up with this video. I'll say goodnight, and then I'll probably just start talking shit on TikTok and posting it on YouTube. Maybe not. Maybe not.
What if everything you see, everything you touch, taste, feel is just a shadow? Not a metaphorical one, but a literal projection of something else, something higher, something more real. It's right there next to the simulation theory, right? But this has more of a bizarre Twilight Zone twist to it. The shadow world theory, right? I don't know how many of you have heard of this, but it suggests that what we call reality is a filtered, distorted reflection of something beyond our senses, beyond our visible spectrum, and possibly beyond our comprehension. Because a digital simulation is easy to imagine. This idea, though, has ancient roots. Plato's cave, right? Gnostic cosmology. And it might explain the strangeness we feel deep down, the sense that something here isn't quite right. I don't know why there's this insistent, reoccurring idea that we're trapped inside a simulation or imitation, a copy, or a lesser version of something greater. That the physical world is not the source, but the symptom. And so there exist these traditions, hinting that we are perceiving only a small part of existence, a veil, right? And beyond that veil lies a reality so pure and powerful that it would shatter everything we think we know about life, identity, or consciousness. If we are indeed living in a projected world, then who or what is doing the projecting? I think most of us understand the scientific basic concepts of matter. Maybe it's just a matter of perception. Does living in a designed world make you feel trapped? Or does it make you feel protected? So, if you're not too familiar with Plato's Cave, it's an allegory about a group of people who have been imprisoned in a dark cave their entire lives, chained in such a way that they can only see the wall in front of them. Behind them is a fire, and between the fire and the prisoners, objects are moved that cast shadows on the wall. Now, the prisoners perceive these shadows as reality because that is all they've ever seen. But one prisoner escapes and discovers that the shadows are mere illusions, reflections of real objects outside the cave. When he returns to free the others, they reject him. They're more comfortable with the familiar shadows than with the blinding truth. And so this allegory captures the essence of the shadow world theory, that our reality may be nothing more than a dim reflection of a more authentic, luminous world, you see? Now, in some Gnostic traditions, the physical world is often considered a prison, a deception crafted by a lower, ignorant god known as the demiurge. According to this belief system, our souls originated in a pure, divine realm, but were trapped in matter. The demiurge created the material world as a distorted echo of the true spiritual domain, a place meant to enslave people rather than enlighten them. And in this view, the body becomes a vessel of limitations and sensory experiences, a trap. And some people do feel this way. I don't. Not at all. I'm perfectly fine being a human being. Remember, angels wanted to come here. But the Gnostic true path to awakening is through inner knowledge, or gnosis, which reveals the spiritual realm hidden behind the illusion. Modern physics may be catching up to these ancient ideas. The holographic principle, a theory from quantum gravity and string theory, suggests that our three-dimensional reality might be a projection from a two-dimensional surface. In other words, the universe could be a hologram. Everything we experience as depth, volume, may be an encoded illusion, a shadow. Quantum mechanics adds another layer to it. Reality at the quantum level doesn't solidify until observed. So particles exist in a state of potentiality until they are measured. And so this has led to theories that consciousness itself plays a role in shaping the material world. What is that supposed to mean, folks? What does that mean? Things don't really exist until you are there to see them? Could it be that our perception is constructing the shadows? And if so, then reality isn't just a reflection. It's an interactive illusion, constantly shaped by the observer. Now, when we think about physical laws, they are more like programming rules, right? Just like living in a digital illusion maintained by code. There is this philosopher, Nick Bostrom, who took this seriously and argued that future civilizations might simulate ancestral lives. We could be living in one of those simulations. If that's the case, then the world we experience is not just a shadow. It's an artificially generated copy of something else. I know there are a number of people who think there may have been a reset of time at some point in the past, and the date we are living in is far off from the real date. Now, if that's true, then how would someone pinpoint the true date with accuracy? Think about dreams. Dreams are an example of how convincing a false reality can be. In a dream, everything feels real until you wake up. Sometimes dreams even show you places or faces you've never seen before. How does the mind generate such intricate environments and emotional experiences without any physical input? Lucid dreamers, shamans, mystics, they often report experiences that feel more real than waking life, leading some people to ask, what if waking life is just another layer of the dream? Many cultures believe dreams are gateways to the true world, while waking life is actually the dream. The shadow world theory draws from this by suggesting that what we call reality is simply the most persistent dream of all. So there is this concept of the veil, right? A separation between this world and the divine or true reality. In the Bible, the veil in the temple separated man from the Holy of Holies, the place of divine presence. In Kabbalah, there's the concept of the shells or husk that obscure the divine light. In ancient Egyptian mysticism, the goddess Isis was said to wear a veil that only the true awakened could lift. Now, symbolically, all these veils represent the illusion or distortion that prevents us to see beyond it. The shadow world is what lies before the veil. And to move beyond it requires transformation and often suffering. It's not just about knowing that the shadow world exists, but preparing yourself to face what's behind it. Psychologically, we each live within our own shadow world, a mental projection filtered through emotion, trauma, belief, desire. You see, our brains filter billions of bits of sensory data per second into something manageable based on what we expect to see. This means reality is shaped by programming, sometimes cultural, sometimes emotional. And this internal shadow world can become a prison when we are unaware of it. It creates bias and fear, and these act as internal veils. To escape the shadow world is about confronting your own illusions. So how do we break free? Whether you believe in spiritual awakening, philosophical enlightenment, or escaping a digital simulation, the answer begins with awareness. Awareness of the illusion. Awareness of the self as separate from the image. The shadow world theory isn't just about seeing the lie. It's about seeking the truth behind it. And maybe, just maybe, the very act of questioning reality is the first crack in the mirror. Because only when we stop accepting shadows as truth, that's when we can pull back the veil. Every minute of every day.
Then he goes on to sell zeolite, which I actually have some, but I never did it. I did it through the intention of metal detoxing, but I don't know. I bought it. I have it. It's like right there. But I don't know. Maybe I don't need a metal detox. Maybe not. I do have like a sixth sense, it seems, for my own health, especially since I don't have health insurance or anything. And, I think that's a lot of the benefits of the Holy Spirit is, you know, you're kind of like ministered to about your own health. Food looks banging. What do the teenagers say? They say bussin', but there's another term they say. The teenagers, you know, their weird words they got? Like we was back in the day, I don't know how old you are, I'm 35. We'd say bangin'. The kids nowadays, they say bussin'. What's another one? There's another funny food term. So I'm making a salad dressing. Joe is 20. Oh my God, I love it. Influencing younger generations. This should probably be who I should target as my audience. Should probably be a little less crazy to target younger people. So here I have a huge thing of blended up cabbage. So I just put cabbage in the blender to make it like this. And then there's carrots shredded up underneath. So I'm just going to pour this whole thing into salad. And this is like my meal prep. And I love this so much because obviously it's healthy. It stays well in the fridge. And it's raw. I mean, I will meal prep this with beans and potatoes. I'm trying to get away from rice. Dude, rice makes my thighs so fat and dumpily. Dimply. So sometimes I forget this and I'll go on like a rice prepping kick. And then I'm like, my thighs get so like dumplings with like dimples in them. And I remember, rice, I guess, is like not for everybody. Not for everybody type. And I try not to eat too much wheat, so I don't really want pasta. So yeah, I'll meal prep this week. My plan is pinto beans and potatoes, but I'm doing that tomorrow. So I'll just meal prep these little containers, sandwich containers with potatoes and rice. Potatoes and beans, not rice. Beans, not rice. Still getting all these carrots up. This is definitely not the right utensil, but I don't know. I'm enjoying myself. Stirring the shit up with a fork. I'm fine with it. Don't want to dirty another utensil. You know? Cut out carbs. Yeah, I have to. You know, your hormones change drastically every 7 years. So 35 is a big one. And 35, you're like premenopause, basically. So you got to start acting like you're basically going into menopause, which is like a major hormonal imbalance. So they say 35 is the age where a lot of women tend to get obese because you will just naturally, I guess the hormones, the body has a really poor fat distribution scenario. That's all it is. It's like your hormones are, I don't even know if they're out of whack or it's natural, but the body begins to store fat in weird ways based on your hormonal shift that happens every 7 years. And the 35 is when you start to get fat. So luckily for me, I've been chubby my whole life and I've had to work hard to stay a little on the thinner side. I have actually been in the best shape of my life because I did yoga teacher training in 2018. So, I mean, you had to do like 300 hours of classes. That was part of your requirements. So, I mean, I got really, really fit in 2018. And I looked great. It's nice to be able to say that I have been in the best shape of my life. Like some people can't say that, right? They've never been in the best shape of their life. I'm glad I did it. And like, I'm glad I know how, if I want to do it again. But right now, I guess I'd rather just drink, and that's what's keeping me chubby. But because it's not worth it. Going off the booze and just sitting raw dogging life at night at home by myself is not worth it. So I try to stay super healthy otherwise. There's like a weird piece of cabbage in there. And Fleur Brun got me thinking about worms now, because Jerry gets them. I have to deworm Jerry like every month, basically. You just give him a pill. Just for caution, because the mice he eats mice, and they do have worms in them. And I was like, how does a person get tapeworm? And I looked it up. And it can be like on the skin of a carrot. That's why they say wash your vegetables. So like, I'll really be examining my produce from now on. I guess I'm not that paranoid, but I'm like, how in the world does someone get a tapeworm anyway? Like, that's crazy. Oh my God. Vanessa, I can't. We got to stop talking about this. It's too horrifying. This needs to be spicier. But I don't know what kind of spice I want. I like everything really spicy. I feel like chili powder is not enough. But I think that's all I have. I'm not going to do hot sauce. Right? Cannot raw dog life. You know what? In this world does not deserve a sober Lauren Pritchard, because I'm not a very happy woman. I'm like got the Holy Spirit. I'm amused by my life. I'm amused by the horrors. And I'm not a victim. I don't give a fuck, dude. I'm not a victim. Don't care. But yeah, this world does. I need to accurately mirror to the world exactly what it is. I'm not gonna just start becoming some super healthy, like routine type A chick. Nothing against them. Are they robots? I'm like, how? But a lot of them have family, significant other. I really just, it's true. It's for your health. Like it's not any kind of, it's not even it's like love and relationships are, it's almost like true love is not romantic. Like I hate the word romantic. Like get out of here with that stuff. True love is like for your health. Like your partner, your significant other, like grounds your energy and like heals you and vice versa. Carrot pepino? What's that? Oh my God, do I even want to know? No, stop. We gotta stop. Oh my God, I had this banner the whole time. Floor and Brill snatching. Oh my God, the salad is not that great. It's more of a hell world at the moment. Yeah, and isn't it weird how it's some people's heaven? You know who's loving it? The boomers. Because, they worked their ass off, they got their wealth, and now they're living nice with the money that they made. My dad grew up so poor, and he's like loving life right now because, he's at this cycle of his life where he's accumulated wealth from nothing. And he just wants to have a good time. But the boomers screwed everyone. Yeah, they sort of did. But my dad bought me my car. My parents never spoiled us. We had the right amount. You knew that you could get clothing because we usually wanted clothes, right? You knew you could get clothing on your birthday, on Christmas, you can get your hair done twice a year. But outside of that, like, we knew better than to even ask. We weren't spoiled. But anyways, my dad bought me my car, and you know, it was such a good energy exchange, because like, yeah, like, he's accumulated so much wealth, and like, yeah, their generation kind of screwed us. So I'm not saying like I felt entitled to it, but when he mentioned it, I never told him, but I cried so hard. I was like, just like crying like happy tears, because I was having such a hard time with my old car, and I was spending so much money, and he was too. Like, we were like going halvesies on a lot of stuff, trying to fix it, that I couldn't even buy a new one. You know, it was like, we agreed to go halvesies on fixing this thing so many times that it was like, I can't even afford to get a new one. Like, and I was exhausted with this car, and I was living in this fear of it breaking down. It never broke down, you know, glory to God, probably Holy Spirit driving that thing. But you know, it was like the constant, like, cortisol spiking of just driving an old shitty car. And so I kept my eye open for another one. I wanted basically the same car, just newer, and I got one. And then, you know, my dad offered to put some, you know, help me with it. But then when it came to the transaction, he's like, I'll just buy it for you. You know? It's under 10 grand. I mean, I like it. It's like exactly what I want. Toyota, manual, stick shift. It's going to run forever, low mileage. Like, this car is going to give me no problems. Nothing beats, I always drove SUVs, but nothing beats the low gas mile, or the low, I never need to pump gas. I never really knew any different, because gas used to be cheaper, and then I drove SUVs, so I never knew the difference. Like, I never felt the difference, but I got this little old car to get out of the city, because you need a car out of the city. You can't like live without a car out here. So I just needed like a little piece of crap, basically. And it was stick shift, and I had to teach myself stick shift from a YouTube video on the test drive. Yeah. But anyways, oh my goodness, nothing beats virtually never having to pump gas. So I stuck with a small car again. Also, the expense is so much less, right? Saving all that money. Started the book Coming Race today. Started that book, The Coming Race. You know, the Vril, written in 1870. I think I've heard of it. Yeah, beauty and wellness is a must, Vanessa. I feel like, and this is where I feel like men are getting, like, men who hate women, I feel like they're getting like weirded out, because we're starting to like realize just a lot of things about the unfair, uneven exchange. And truly, our jobs should be just to stay young and beautiful and healthy and happy, right? Because when the woman's happy, the man's happy, kids are happy. And when the woman's healthy, she can stay young and thin and beautiful. This should, and it is like a full-time job. With meal prepping and cleaning the house, it really is a full-time job. I did a staycation in February. I aimlessly cooked and cleaned every day for a week, and it's never ending because it always gets messed up again. It's a full-time job, like when done correctly, like and thoroughly. And my vibration is so high when I cook and when I clean. My vibration's like through the roof. And that's why I feel the need to drink, is because I have to bring my vibration back down. Because in a partnership, that's where a man grounds the woman's energy. Like I need to have my energy. It sounds sexual. I need to be grounded. I need to have my energy grounded. But no, I mean, just simply, I feel like we're like two sides of a battery or something. I don't know. There's something so grounding about the presence of a male partner who's not abusive and isn't gay and doesn't hate you. Oh my God, there's this book. I gotta go soon. Like, this is getting too long. But there's this book. I don't know. It's written like fiction, but I don't think it is. And I think for those who know, oh my goodness, I need to like find out. Gina Marie Colville, she was, she's so funny. She's so crazy. She like read it on like online one time, and it was about a dude who found inner Earth. I love stuff like this. I guess James Casbolt's new book is probably going to read similar. It's about, allegedly, it's about his time when he was in Texas. Like, I think a lot of it has to do with the Underground Railroad rail system. It's like a maglev rail system that goes from San Antonio to Dallas over to New Mexico. But I wonder if, actually Bob Osborne showed a little snippet of it. I should read it. I wonder if it's going to read sort of like that other book of this guy that found inner Earth. It was like an accident. Gina, you remember that? Oh my goodness. She loves Aeropostale. She always wears Aeropostale. So Riley and I, it's funny we never met in real life because we are like real internet besties. Riley and I used to call her our Aero Queen for Aeropostale. So let me look up that book Joe was talking about. The Coming Race, 1870. Okay. I got a whole bottle of Benadryl. We stocked up. So unlike me, but it's helping. Benadryl is helping me sleep. I don't usually take stuff like that. $70 must be out of print. That's cool. Work of science fiction deals with an underground race of advanced beings, masters of real energy, a strange power that can both heal and destroy. Yeah, that's one of the things James Casbolt used to always say. And I don't know exactly what powers he was talking about, but he was like, it's interesting how all the powers to heal people can also destroy people. So he would say, he's like, I don't know if I want to be the healer or the destroyer. Like, it's sort of this existential crisis that he faces, because I'm pretty sure he's like a, real Nazi or whatever. His life is very layered. So, I would listen, like, I sort of get it. Don't know all the details. They intend to leave their subterranean existence and conquer the world. But the book has been seen by many as barely concealed account of hidden wisdom, a theory that has attracted many strange bedfellows. Strange bedfellows? What? That's weird. Including French philosopher Louise Jacqueloit, Polish explorer Ferdinand Ossendowski, and Adolf Hitler. Let me share what the book looks like. That's such a funny word. Bedfellows. Like, strange bedfellows. Am I sharing my screen? Good. The fudge. What the fudge? It's Gina Marie Colville on YouTube. There you go. I typed it out. That symbol is like so powerful. It's like within the symbol, actually pretty psychic when it comes to symbols, but I think that's actually the whole point of logos and symbols. And I think that's how I got to like break down so many strongholds and principalities, is because I have the psychic ability for logos, and that's the whole point. So all these evil people will have these logos or symbols or whatever, so they can identify each other because there's information encoded in the symbol or in a logo. And I think it's something to where people like us are not supposed to be able to encrypt logos and symbols, but I can. I mean, for the most part, I mean, I have nothing to compare it to, but like, I'm pretty sure that I've never had like a logo or a symbol that I was just like, I got nothing, unless there was nothing encrypted in it, right? But I wouldn't have any way of knowing exactly. But, you know, then things would sort of synchronistically pan out that would be like, oh, you know, because that's what I encrypted from your logo or from your symbol. So this symbol right here, man, this is powerful. That's a powerful symbol. Like, I look at this symbol and I immediately see a lot of men in black robes in some kind of formation around this. I see them carrying something in their hand, like a candle or something. Black robes with hoods up, so you can't really see their faces. And I see them walking in a formation almost as a means to like generate some kind of energy. And then there's some focal point in the middle. And I don't know why. I feel like it could be a female, a woman. And this it's not evil, but it's not good either. Like, it's not, there's no dualism. This is a completely neutral territory. Like, it solely is just to serve a purpose. It's not nefarious, and it's not like this wonderful thing. It's just a neutral thing. So there you have it. This is like me encoding symbols. Now, maybe someday I can look deeper into this, and then I could perhaps see what I just envisioned. I don't know. I've never read this book. I've never looked up that symbol. I've never really looked into these things. But if I did now, maybe I would find that is exactly what I just saw right now. And this is the power of symbology. This was what a lot of it was meant for, was for psychic connection between like-minded people. All right. The black sun. Oh God. Is it the black sun? Black hole sun. Yes, symbology is very interesting. I think it's worth a deep dive, definitely. Because symbols are everywhere. That's what makes studying symbology so interesting, is because symbols are literally everywhere. And there's so like, and once you start to get into the psychic intuition of symbols based on, like, you can start researching it, and then you can start collecting data. I feel like once you're into it, you get more into it. Like, once you're into it, you get even more into it, and it becomes easier, and the awareness expands further. It's like an eye or a bunch of legs. Yeah. Don't think there's much on YouTube about symbolism. I don't know. I should do a video on symbolism. Yeah, they're everywhere. It's on the floor of, this is worth, Woolsburg Castle. Okay, I'm going to put it on my Google. What if I have a dream tonight and I'm like in the middle of this thing? Okay. Saved for tomorrow. Alrighty, well, that's that. We had a really good stream. We made salsa. We listened to Flora Brun talk about butt worms. But in all seriousness, rail snatching is a huge problem, and it's very sad. It's horrible. I made a salad with dressing that I made from scratch. So I'm going to prep this up and clean up and get a buzz to go to sleep. Maybe talk shit on TikTok. Maybe not. Don't know if I'll have much to say. You never know. I never know. I never know if I'm going to have anything to say at all. But people get me fired up and inspired in a good way. And then I'm like, wait, I got some shit to say. Wait, I can relate to that. Wait, I see this too. Yeah, this was fun. I should do this again. I've actually been wanting to do this for a long time. And I got a GoPro. I got this computer. Actually, I got this computer. This was a gift for Christmas, again, from my boomer dad. My boomer dad, who's so generous, as, you know, it kind of, the scales are balancing a little bit. The boomers can be a little generous, but we're not. I don't expect it, right? It's just nice. Like, I don't expect it. I don't feel entitled to it, but it feels really good when some of my suffering is relieved by the boomer generation. And this was to do video editing, but I haven't done it yet. Because I don't know how to connect the GoPro. I got to figure out how to do that. I got to be in the right mood to figure out how to do that. You know, this world's got to be worthy of me in that way, right? That's the number one thing. Like, most of all, I need to find this world worthy of me making really good content. Not you. You guys are worthy, but energy-wise, I've had a death urge. You know, I'm not suicidal. I'm not going to kill myself. But if I can, like, live as close to that as possible, that's been my MO. You know, I like drinking. I like getting very drunk and passing out. I like being hungover because I have no energy to do anything. I don't want energy to do anything because I don't want to do anything. And I'm not complaining. This is my season. This is the season. That's all. Good evening, good day. Joe says, have a nice night, everyone. That was sweet. I love the ladies. Appreciate y'all. For many reasons, but mostly for the vibes. You're the best. Your vibe attracts your tribe. And I think you guys are so cool. All right. Check you later. Have a beautiful night. Talk to you again really soon.